I think we're going to have a whole night where we're just going to talk about it and share with it. And I want to invite you guys out to that because we got some awesome stories. And I'm going to pass it over to Sarah now.
So people have been asking me what it was like to travel with these two for how many days was it? About 12 days. And to sum that up, I'm just going to tell you, they ganged up on me and dipped my hair in a toilet.
Lies.
And right before we got on here, Daniel said, no toilet story, no toilet story. But I'm just spilling it out for everybody to know that happened. So that's a good summary of my trip. But India was amazing, and I completely fell in love with it. I told the pastor in South India, I can just stay in your pantry. You can feed me some scraps of food every once in a while. It'll be okay. You can marry me off someday. They do their whole arranged marriage thing over there. And I really loved it. And when I left for India, I was thinking, this is 24 days of being gone, and what am I going to come back as? And am I going to be changed? Is there going to be something that sticks with me? And I thought, coming back here, that the lasting memory I would have of India would be of starving children and broken families and just people living in poverty. And I did see those things while I was in India, but that's not the image that is still remaining in my mind. And when I think about India, I think about all of the people that I met, especially in South India, and they just completely stole my heart. And you're going to see a picture of this in a little video, but we went to this home for church one day. It was really small, and there were all these little kids in there. And one of the memories I have is just sitting on the ground, which they all did over there on the tile floor, and I was just worshiping with them. There was a language barrier, and I had no idea what they were singing, but I just clapped along anyway, and they were just giggling and smiling and so amazed that this white girl from America would sit on the floor with them and worship with them. And that's the kind of picture I have when I think about India, is those kids and all the amazing women I met there, all the amazing leaders I met there, and all of the men that, despite their circumstances, still served God. So I'm going to be really excited to share more with you on Wednesday, but now I believe we have some pictures to share with you.
Yes. All right, like I said, we would love to just take, the whole day and just share with you guys all the awesome stuff we saw. We have some really great pictures and videos to share with you guys. We will be doing that May 7th. That's going to be Missions Night, so Wednesday night, so please come out to that if you're interested in seeing more. We're just going to share with you guys just a few pictures of what we saw while we were over there. This is the three of us. We're standing at the southern tip of India. If you look at a map, it's the very, very bottom point of India, southernmost tip of India, and that's where three oceans meet. It's the only place in the world where three oceans come together. Just a gorgeous place. And that was the only free day that we had while we were over there. We were very, very busy. We were doing multiple services every single day, speaking to large groups of people every single day, and this was the only day that we had to go and sightsee. So it was really a joy to go down and see that and watch the sunset over the ocean in India. We'll go to the next picture. This is, a little girl I'm in the process of trying to adopt because she's such a cutie pie. And she was in one of the churches down there, and every time I try to take a picture of her, she just busts out with this adorable little smile. And I want her. I'm hiring a lawyer to see if there's any possibility I can remove her from her home and bring her to live with me because she is absolutely a cutie. Go to the next picture. This is in the village that Sarah was talking about earlier. It's a very poor village, and these are, they do a lot of village churches, and they have people open up their homes, and they do churches in their homes as a way to take the gospel into some of the more impoverished villages there in India. And so this is what one of these churches looks like. It's inside somebody's home. As you can see, we're in a room there, and that's the only room in the house. They have a kitchen that's attached to the side of the house, but this is their living room, bedroom, dining room, everything in this one room. And there's a family of 6 that are staying in that house. The room is pretty small, probably about the size of like your living room here, an average size living room, but the whole family stays in it. That thing that's up against the wall is actually the bed that's turned up on its side to make room for all the people to come in and sit. And this is actually one of the nicer homes in the village. On the 7th, I'll show you guys some of what the lesser of the homes look like. But this is one of the nicer homes in that village. And a lot of these kids are very, very poor. As you can see on the bottom left-hand corner, that's my future daughter. This was taken about 3 days after the picture that I took earlier. And she's still wearing the same outfit because most of the kids there of 1 to 2 outfits, and they just recycle back and forth. So 3 days later, she's still wearing the same thing because that's kind of all that she has. And it's kind of like a rule of thumb in those villages. If you have 3 outfits, you're doing really well for yourself. So a lot of these kids are very, very poor, but as you can see, they're all smiling and all really excited because though they might not have a lot of possessions, they have Christ. And it was amazing that this isn't just like smiles that they put on their face for a picture. These kids were smiling and beaming every minute that we were there, and they were just so happy at every turn, at every moment. And it was just amazing to see, like, us coming from a place that we have so much, and we think that we need so many new things. And that's kind of like joy is always elusive for us, it seems. And so many times, like so many people here are on antidepressants and things like that because it's like, man, I don't have anything to be grateful for. And you go over here and they literally have nothing. And I know it sounds like a cliche, but they're just so joyful because they have God, and that's all that they do need. And that's attainable for all of us no matter where we're located on this earth. So we're going to go to the next picture. This is me standing up on, this is an Easter Sunday service. I was able to speak to about 3,000 plus people in this church. The church building is really small. It would only hold about 700 people if we sat them the way that we do here. So they just removed all the chairs from the building. People sat on the floor. There's no aisle space, nowhere to walk. Pretty much once you come in, you're not moving because people just swarm in around you. And it's like room for you to sit, and people are pretty much sitting on laps and stuff, and they just crammed people in. There's actually so many people that they started spilling out into the front courtyard area of the church and into the alleyways surrounding the church, and they took speakers and put them in the windows so that they could hear the sermon going outside to the people that were standing in the alleyways and even on the streets, and they had hundreds of people that were gathered up outside of the church, peeking their heads in through the windows and listening to the speakers that were set outside so they could hear what was going on that Easter. And it was really an amazing experience, and God did some awesome things that day. We spoke at 4 services that morning, starting at 4 a.m., and keep on going on and speaking at different services across 2 different churches. So it was a very, very busy day. Next picture. This is me speaking. I believe this is Good Friday. I spoke to about 20 people on Good Friday. And I believe the service then was at 6 or 7 a.m., or was it 4 a.m.? I'm not sure. It was really early. It was way, God, oh Lord, early. And just spoke to a whole bunch of people that were just pouring in, just eager to hear about Christ. And it was really, really awesome experience. Next picture. Elephant. This elephant was just like legit parked outside the pastor's house. And no, just an elephant, why not? We were driving down the road, and I remember I was in the car with Chris and Sarah was talking to the pastor's daughter. She was in mid-sentence, and she was like, yeah, and it was just so awesome how we were at church today, and all the people do, elephant! And saw this elephant and just like broke mid-sentence, elephant, and freaked out. So of course we had to stop and go get pictures with it. So we were like climbing all over it. Sarah kissed it. It was really disgusting. I have evidence. I will show you guys on the 7th of that really unfortunate situation. But just cool elephant. And a lot of people, like, they don't have vehicles, so they just use random animals. They just, like, capture them or something, throw a net over. How do you catch an elephant? I'm not sure. But, they just, ride these animals in. So these young men had ridden the elephant in from the mountains to bring some stuff down to the town to sell it. And they just parked it on a random street, and they were just taking a nap underneath the elephant, which I don't think is very safe. They don't have like a lot of safety laws over there, so you could just sleep under an elephant, hope it doesn't get spooked, or else you're going to be Indian jelly. Next picture. This is in one of the churches. This was a really awesome thing for me because me and my dad actually had the opportunity to go to India last year. And I remember when we went with the pastor, he took us to this building, and it was in construction. It was like just brick walls and stuff. They build everything out of these handmade clay bricks. And I remember the building was like half constructed. They had just put the roof on it, but it was just bare bones. And we walked in, and the pastor was telling us, he's like, this is going to be a future church here. We're really excited about it. They had actually strategically built it on a road that a lot of Hindus make a Hindu pilgrimage on to one of their holy sites. And multiple times in a year, there's just thousands of people walking down this road to the holy site that they're going to. So they strategically put this church on that road so that as people are walking by, they could invite them into the church for water and stuff and have an opportunity to witness to them and see people get saved. And I remember standing there in this unfinished building with my dad and the pastor and him saying, very shortly this building is going to be completed and we're going to have people in here worshiping God and we're going to see people get saved here. And he was just so excited. And I remember him showing us this building, and then I was there and I'm standing there preaching and I'm looking around at this building like, man, why does this place look so familiar to me? And then I remembered this is the building that the pastor showed us a year ago, but it's completed. And not only is it completed, there's people in here, there's people getting saved, people gave their lives to Christ, they were healed in that building while we were preaching. It was just an awesome experience to see somebody with vision and see that vision actually come to pass. And a lot of times God's going to give you a vision, man. Just hang on to it and keep going forward with it. It's amazing to see what God will actually accomplish if you push it through and see it to the end. It was amazing to be here and be part of that completed vision 1 year later. And I look forward to going back again next year and seeing what God has done in that amount of time. And I believe the next thing we're going to show you is a video. And before I do that, I just want to explain, this is one of the funniest kids I've ever seen. There's a language barrier, but he was just hilarious. You know, like sometimes comedy just transcends language, and he was just one of those kids you're like, man, this kid is hilarious. He was awesome. And he didn't know a word of English, but he was really fascinated with Sarah. So he went to one of the guys that was our translator, and he learned how to say "you're very beautiful" in English, so he could go and tell her that she was beautiful. Because I think he wanted to marry her or something. I don't know if that's legal in that country or what, but he had a dream, and so he was going to let her know that what he thought about her. But he was just adorable, and so I filmed him, and I asked him if he could sing a song for us, and he did, and I just thought it was cute. So I wanted to share just this brief clip with you guys of this young man singing for us.
Nana. Oh, thank you.
How old is he? What's his age?
Yamasa, Wombodi.
9?
9.
Ask him if he can sing a song for me.
Yesu vanda veetile santhosham. Yesu vanda veetile santhosham. Yesu vanda veetile santhosham. Santhosham. Yesu vanda veetile samadhanam. Yesu vanda veetile